John F. Kennedy in South Dakota. We're visiting Rapid City and Deadwood. Presidents, motorbikes and cowboys. It's a beautiful summer evening in Rapid City, crying out for a drink. Firehouse Brewing Company in a converted fire station. Looks promising. This is nice. Here we go. Cheers! Definitely an old firehouse. Firefighting paraphernalia hanging from the ceiling. But it's time to head back out and explore. Welcome to Art Alley. Painting permit required. We don't have one, but it's closed for roadworks anyway. On to the city's presidential statues, starting with Theodore Roosevelt, James Buchanan, the 15th president, Abraham Lincoln, the 16th, William Taft, 27th, Lyndon B. Johnson, the 36th, Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th, and Grover Cleveland, who was 22nd and 24th. Barack Obama, who was 44th. Second President, John Adams. Which president? If you know, post in the comments. How about this one? 14th President, Franklin Pierce. Andrew Jackson, number 7. Recognise this one? And George Washington, number 1. Ronald Reagan, number 40, and James Garfield, the 20th. The rest are here on the map.
我哋嚟到呢個Rapid City 嘅 Berlin Wall， 咁主要咧其實我哋就想揾個地方食晚餐嘅啫。但係既然可以喺 Berlin Wall 隔離食晚餐，何樂而不為呢？
Now there isn't much of the Berlin Wall left, so this and the Checkpoint Charlie tank trap are a real surprise. This is actually the Memorial Park in Rapid City. Very pleasant and well kept. Heading north to Deadwood.
Lots of no helmet.
Well, sunburn.
At least they got hair, right? Some has no hair. I don't know how do they handle it. Deadwood 每年嘅8月咧都會舉行 Harley Davidson 嘅巡遊。咁8月份今個月份嚟講咧，就係嚟緊呢個禮拜5。咁今日係星期3，咁所以咧我哋或者會錯過。但係而家喺呢條Deadwood 嘅 Main Street 裏邊咧，其實已經見到好多 Harley Davidson 嘅拍燒友，有好多嘅店鋪都係賣 Harley Davidson 嘅衫啊，或者 Harley Davidson 呢個品牌 related 嘅產品，好有趣，好有生命力啊！
So, no helmet required in South Dakota. Well, this guy's got one on. I wonder if there's any interesting accident statistics there. Certainly some interesting bikes. A couple of things about South Dakota. Here we are up in Deadwood, and this weekend, it's currently Wednesday, they will have a big bikers meet. This is nothing. It will be absolutely full of bikers. Mainly Harley Davidsons, and excuse me while I go around here, the occasional Ducati or something else, but by and large Harleys. The other thing, we'll see in a minute, oh there we go, the laws in South Dakota are a bit different. And you do not have to have a crash helmet in your bike when riding your bike. So they don't. Just admire this round nice piece here. Lovely. You might have trouble hearing me because of all the motorbikes. Anyway, I'm looking at the petrol price here. Two things. One, this is the cheapest petrol I've seen in the USA on this trip. And secondly, unleaded plus is cheaper than regular. Try working that out. I remember the original Mad Max movie, Mel Gibson in his glory days. Behind me we have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. When I first saw it, I thought it was a fantastic movie. It's a great story. I looked at it a few years ago, and actually there's only a couple of scenes which are really good, but definitely iconic. We're outside the Adams house. Mr. Adams was a Deadwood bigwig. He died in 1934, and his wife, Mary, left everything undisturbed. So it remained until 1992, when the Deadwood Historic Preservation Commission purchased the empty house, now a museum. We are in Deadwood, and in 1876 they had a gold rush, so there was virtually nothing here because until then it was an Indian reservation. And in 1876 you would have come up here, bought your equipment, which would have been something like this, and you would have been living here and hoping to make your fortune. Of course, very few did. You would have had your stove, your camp bed, we've got a proper chimney up there, and over here you'd had all your other possessions and your gold mining kit. Bearing in mind it gets hot in the summer and freezing cold in the winter. Apart from that, perfect.
I think now they turn it into Airbnb. Probably we can stay here one night.
You can. I'm going to the motel. So when you first came here, there wouldn't have been any roads, just trails. Any of these vehicles would have been luxurious. Well, maybe not that one. These would have been luxury. And eventually you've got vehicles, motor vehicles. Hang on. Oh, maybe not. Well, anyway, that's what the roads did to the cars until they got tarmacked. American roads are great now. Sorry about that. I got the wheels back on. I haven't adjusted the road. Now let's see how my not very sturdy vehicle can survive an early Deadwood road. I don't think we'll get halfway. Anyway, here we go. Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Never mind. Oh well, yeah, we did make halfway. Take that as a victory for somebody. Deadwood is a very interesting place. Its big break was when they found gold, although of course coming up to an Indian reservation and looking for gold was illegal at the time. But they had a bit of prostitution, alcohol and gambling, all of which were closed down at some point or other by people outside of Deadwood. But now it's all come back, but is legal. Or so they tell me. I'm about to find out. Some bits, not others. So I'm looking at a picture of the early Deadwood. A lot of wooden buildings, pretty disorganised. But it was an interesting place to live, if a bit risky. September 1879 was the big fire in Deadwood. Bakery caught fire and everything spread because most of the buildings were made of pine wood, very close together. But they did survive, rebuilt, and they're still here. Bricks and mortar. This is the Fairmont Hotel. I'm not sure it's the same chain as they have in Canada, but you never know. Deadwood has a bit of a reputation, hence their brothels didn't get closed until 1980. They have rules, they have laws, they motorbikes, of course. Who needs sunshine when there's moonshine? I don't think this is moonshine. It's full throttle, whatever it is. Hard to tell who's real. Well, she hasn't got a head. She's obviously drunk too much. But we are in the Deadwood distillery. Whiskey and moonshine. Spot the difference. That I'll give it a miss. That sounds pretty good. Just when you're thinking they're really badass, you come down here and find they've got gluten-free. Something for everyone. I'm driving, that's the problem. Deadwood is famous for cowboys, infamous even. And amongst them we have Calamity Jane, who is being depicted in various guises. There's a French guise there, I think that's from the film, possibly the same one. She was a bit of a character, as were Buffalo Bill. And somewhere around here we will find Wild Bill. Wild Bill was a very colourful character. Gunfighter, lawman, gambler, circus rodeos. Certainly killed 6 people in gunfights, possibly more. But there again, he was prone to exaggeration, and people did like to add to his stories. Sad thing is, his final demise, he had an argument with a gambler who he actually gave money to have breakfast. The next day, that man came back and shot him in the back of the head. There's got to be a moral in there somewhere. Possibly it's about breakfast. If you're a bit confused, I'm not the ugly one. This is the location where Wild Bill Hickok was shot, 2nd of August 1876. Of course, most of it burnt down since then, so probably isn't. But anyway, why let facts get in the way of a good story? It's the Wild Bill Bar. It's open, and they have a few local rules. And some funny cowboy boots. Well.
而家嚟到呢個地方咧就叫做 Deadwood， 咁其實咧係佢1875年之前咧，其實就係屬於呢個native 嘅 American， 即係印第安人嘅。咁但係咧，當白人發現咗呢個地區有金礦之後咧，就好多唔同世界嘅人咧都走過嚟咧掘金。咁所以咧喺1875年嘅時候啦，呢個地方咧就開始有好多外來嘅人，咁亦都侵佔咗原居民嘅住處，而成為咗發展一個比較商業化嘅一個掘金地點。金業裏邊咧，其實我都發現咗中國人嘅影蹤嘅。咁今日我而家喺個位置咧就叫做 Adam Museum， 就係主要係講述 Deadwood 嘅成個歷史嘅過程嘅。咁其中我發現咧有一個舞獅嘅一條龍喺度。好多舊嘅城市咧，其實都曾經俾火災摧毀過嘅。咁呢個Deadwood 市咧，其實都冇例外。喺1879年嘅時候咧，佢哋都係成個城市大部分嘅商業區咧都俾火咧燒毀晒。咁但係浴火重生啦，咁佢哋而家嘅發展咧，亦都係成為一個好出名嘅旅遊區。講到淘金，點會少得過中國人呢？好多個世紀之前呢，其實中國人呢都係大量咁移去遷徙去另一啲嘅地方去尋找工作嘅經驗。咁嚟到呢個Deadwood 嘅墓園呢，我哋都發現到中國人嘅墓園。咁聽管理員講呢，雖然個墓園仲喺度，咁佢哋嘅骨灰呢已經係移返去亞洲或者係中國嘅地方㗎啦。
So, beside me we have the graves of Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. Now, Wild Bill was shot, murdered, although he had killed a few people himself, and he is buried here. In fact, they had to redo him several times because people kept taking his gravestone away. Beside him, Calamity Jane, and the story goes that her dying wish was to be buried beside him. There's also another story that actually Wild Bill couldn't stand her, and Wild Bill's friends thought it'd be a great joke to bury her beside him. Anyway, that was before my time. According to the notice here, American flag at the cemetery. It's never taken down. Now, I used to think that was only the one on the moon. But in fact, that's probably true, because I expect this comes down for cleaning, replacement. Because the one on the moon is there permanently. Heading south to Fort Robinson, Nebraska. We are hiking the Wagon Wheel Trail to Lover's Leap Butte. Okay.
Hi.
Well, this is the end of the trail, according to the marking.
Okay. Give me a photo.
Can you get the rocks? Oh, you're videoing. Doing a little hike, 2 hours, a little bit under. Beautiful path, marked by these white posts. Not all of it quite as good as this bit. And we went up behind those hills, cliffs. Beautifully marked out. Not a single person, or rattlesnake for that matter, on the whole path. And then we're going to go back down to our car, which, if you can just see, it is somewhere a little bit down there. Can you see it? Somewhere down there. State of Nebraska, Lover's Leap. End our day with a proper steak dinner and brownie dessert. As dusk falls on our American adventure.